Peace, peace. This is Ogula Ra, and today I wanted to get into story time. Um, Mama Don't Take No Mess, inspired by Erzulie Danto, um, and how I met Erzulie Danto, and when she came into my life, she actually came around the fall season. You know, just really when I was really just starting my path, and I was at that time I was about love and light, and then the more I kind of got into it, you know what I'm saying? You start having hate and darkness like right around the corner. So around the time, I started uh, learning, the science of metaphysics, reading a lot of different occulted books. You know, just really learning uh, the deities. And what had happened was I ended up getting a reading, um, a DeFi reading, and a DeFi reading goes talks about the Orishas. And I met a priest, and they did my divination. They let me know which deities they'll walk with me, and going through going through the phases of getting an initiation. So right around that time when I had that reading, later, maybe like a week later, I had this drive, this thirst to really learn about Haitian voodoo. And, I was researching, looking up the different nations of voodoo, and, you know, starting with Legba, the Nago, the Byrons, the Gator, just really reading and doing some research. And around that time, I was looking up the Urs, like the mother aspect of voodoo, reading about Grand Erzulie, Erzulie Freda, Erzulie Danto. So around that time when I was reading and studying about them, I'll say maybe like, I would say a few months, I ended up having a dream. And in this dream, I was in my room, and I was waking up, and periodically, like during the nighttime, I normally wake up around 3, 4. You know what I'm saying, 5 o'clock at night. To make sure everything's secure, everything is locked. So when I woke up, I went downstairs, and then I was like standing in front of the door, the front door. And when I was there, I felt this presence, like somebody was going to knock on the door, you know, to come in. So at this time, I was like, yo, it's 3 o'clock, such and such in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And then I don't have a peephole. So I'm like, I don't know who's, you know, on the other side, and I'm going to open the door and say, you know what? I don't know about that. That's how I was feeling at that time. So, and that was all in a few seconds. Soon as I was kind of like hesitant just a little bit, the door just flew open. The door just flew open, right? And when that happened, through my peripheral, I seen this being, or this light just went past my peripheral, and I was looking inside the living room, and I was like, what the hell was that? And then when I was, sitting in the living room, I ended up seeing this child. I couldn't really make out if it was a female or a male, and the child was just smiling at me. But then I felt as though the child was smiling at me because I was in trouble with something, or I'm in for this big grand surprise, right? So while I'm sitting here, the door wide open, sitting in the living room, standing in the living room, and seeing this child just sitting there just smiling at me. So after that after that incident, I'm like, you know what? There's two people that came in this house. So I was looking at the child, and then after that, I went and like was walking, looking through the hallway, and I was looking towards the kitchen. So by this time, I went and walked and started approach the hallway to go into the kitchen. But at the same time, while I was walking, I was still keeping my eyes on the child. The child was still smiling through my peripheral, and then I walked like midway in the hallway, and where the kitchen was at, it's like a side wall, and it was a side wall. And basically, she was like, at the time I didn't know her name, but she was like on that side. So I stopped midway because I figured, if I walk up, she's gonna jump out and something gonna grab me or something like that. So I stood midway, right, and I stood there for a while, and then telepathically I heard the name Erzulie Danto. So when I heard, I said, okay. I stopped. I said, okay. And then in a firm voice, I was like, Erzulie Danto, come on, we need to talk. And then once I said that, I turned my back from her, and then I felt her presence behind me, and she was smiling. And then, as I was approaching the living room, I closed the front door. Then I proceeded to go upstairs. But then I woke up, right? So right around this time, I was like, I woke up and I'm like, did I just had a dream about Erzulie Danto? I said, no, I couldn't have had a dream about Erzulie Danto. I said, no, maybe I've been doing too much research and reading about it, and my subconscious. I'm basically calling on his energy at that time. So I had that dream at that particular time, and really she was introducing herself to me. But at that time, you have a lot of people who would tell you, if you're having dreams, it's just a dream, or you really can't go by having a dream. You have to go get a divination, and then they have to see if it adds up. So a few months went by. I was looking up more about voodoo or whatever, and I heard that when if the lower, you don't choose the lower choose you. But then at that time, I was trying to find somebody who was a Hogan or who was a Mambo. But at that time, I really, I'm searching on it and I really couldn't find nobody. So um, at that time, I didn't have no pictures, um, no artifacts, nothing like that. And the only thing I did, I went to my ancestors, and then I was asking them, like, okay, if this particular energy, Azuli Dantor, is coming to me, I asked that she would make a way for, what I'm saying, for me to meet the right people, for me to get, to get a reading. So, long story short, I ended up meeting this person, and they was telling me about my past, present, and future, and also, the different lowers that walk with me. And she mentioned Azuli Don Tor, and then when she was telling me about Azuli Don Tor, I was like, oh wow! A few months ago, I just had a dream about her. And you know what I'm saying? I was kind of hesitant, like, no, I didn't met this person. You know what I'm saying? I didn't met her. This is just a dream. But then once I found out that, I proceeded to get more information. Um, right after that, I went, got pictures, set up an altar, and I started working with her energy. Now, at that time, it was very little bit of information about, what I'm saying, Azuli Dantor. And I just could have go by the very little information that I had. She's one of the Loas who fought in the Haitian Revolution. She's a protector of women and children. Just small things like that. And she have Grand Erzulie, and you have Erzulie Freda, and you have other Erzulies, right? That's all kind of like what I knew at that particular time. So um, by that time, um, and at that time, like I said, I was just getting into the spiritual community, and love and light type of situation. And then I noticed the more I started indulging and getting more in the science, I found out there was a lot of hate and darkness. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, and but what I did know in that experience of getting, anytime that you get a reading or a divination, you open up a spiritual vortex, and when you open up that spiritual vortex, all of your bloodline lineage from your maternal, paternal ancestors are there. You have benevolent spirits, and you have malevolent spirits that's actually front and center, and they're actually there to hear your reading, and and what is your purpose? What is your purpose and your mission while you're here? So right around that time, going through all that, I had the introduction of Erzulie Danto. And then later on, I was working with her, wearing the colors throughout the week. And I had a friend, and one of my friends, they called me, and this is a time where I already had my altar set up. And this around this time, my friend called me, and they let me know that another friend of theirs, uh, they was talking about me. They was bad mouthing me, you know, calling me all out my name, saying everything in the book, just like really trying to just destroy and break down my character, right? And at that time in my spiritual development, you know, I really wanted to put hands on a person, but I'm like, the chances of putting hands on a person, now you're going to get in legal situations, and it's you know what I'm saying. You really don't want that situation, and have to have legal fees and the justice system, and then it goes to a whole drawn out situation that you really don't want to get yourself involved in. So at that time, I was like, you know what, I got the information. You know what I'm saying? In church, they like to say, I left it at the altar. You know what I'm saying? I put all my burdens on the altar. You know what I'm saying? I put it on the altar, and I was letting them. I'm like, look, this person is, really tearing down my character, really bad mouthing me, and really, talking out of pocket. And I'm asking you, if you can quiet this person out. So I'll say maybe a few weeks, months passed by. I totally forgot it. I just left, you know, the information that I had about the person on my altar. You know what I'm saying? Tuesdays, lighting up my candles, interacting with us early. Keep, what I'm saying, being a devotee. You know what I'm saying? And long story short, uh, my friend ended up calling me back, and it was like, "Yo, you're not gonna believe what just happened." I was like, "Well, what you mean? What you mean? What happened? I don't. No, fill me in. What you talking about? What you mean? What happened? Well, the friend I was telling you about, who was bad mouthing you, talking about you. They had to rush them to the emergency room because 89% of their heart closed up. They had to have emergency surgery." So I was like, "What?" I said, "So what?" And at that time, I really couldn't pick the pieces together, and like how that happened. You know what I'm saying? This person is young, right? And I'm like, wow. I said, all right, well, sometimes things happen. Mine, I'm kind of naive, not really like paying attention of what was taking place until I got off the phone, and then it dawned. I said, oh, okay. I left my burdens on the altar. I left my burdens on the altar, and then I was like, that's what it is. And uh, remember what I was saying again. At this time, I had very little information about her. I was just going by the information that was given, and what I've learned, working with the energy of Erzulie Dantor, is that you know she stops at everything for her children or her devotees. You know, her devotees, right? And what was happening is that when she first had her introduction and coming to my home, and when someone was violating my character, she came in. She let me know that she was very protective with her children, with her devotees, and that situation happened. That was one incident, and then it was another situation where you know um, normally during the week, I to honor particular loas or orishas, I wear certain synchronicity of colors, right? And at this time, I used to work 7 days a week, and certain days I wear certain colors. And one particular day, it was a Thursday. You know what I'm saying? I had on like boots, ACGs, fitted jeans. You know what I'm saying? Not skinny jeans, fitted jeans, and I had on a pink shirt. right? And I was wearing it consistently without the week, right? Without the week. And, later on that, and a lot of times spirits will interact with you, either to be in your surrounding or in your dream state. They give a lot of information in your dream state. And what happened was, um, in the dream, for some reason I was at Walmart. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I had to dream at Walmart, and I was going into the electronic area. And anybody who knows the electronic area in Walmart, they have this centerpiece where they have like DVDs and they have like videos, right? So when I was walking, going to the electronic area, I seen this huge, massive Veve. It was a heart and it was a dagger sticking through it, and it was a Veve. And when the more I get approach, you know, um, this Veve, I seen a chocolate, healthy, dark skinned lady, and she was sitting next towards the Veve. She had blue hair, blue eyes, and she had on a silk blouse. And she was sitting down, and she had an excessive like amount of silver on her hands. She had rings, she had bracelets, and she had jewelry on her neck, right? So, and she had blue nails, right? And she went, and when I approached her, I knew who she was, right? But I didn't speak to her at the time. So, and what Erzulie did, she looked at me. She looked me up and down, just giving me this stare, right? The stare down. And when she was doing that, I automatically knew that she was doing a body scan. And when she did it, she looked down. She was like, "Why you got on fitted jeans for?" You know what I'm saying? That's, anytime she talked to me, she talked with a passion and aggression and like, you know what I'm saying? She sizing you up, she checking your energy out, right? And then when I said skinny. I said, "What? Not skinny." I said, "Why I got on fitted jeans?" When I looked down, the very outfit that I had, wearing in the physical world, like going to work, it's the same outfit I had in the dream state. So when I look at my jeans, I look at my boots, but then when I looked down, I noticed that I had on a pink shirt. Then I said, "Oh, she's really commenting on me wearing the pink shirt, right?" So after that, I woke up out of the dream, and again, when you're dealing with spirits, a lot of time they will tell you their attributes and what line of work or whatever they work with. And what I've learned from the experience of having with Danto, what she was letting me know, she also can be jealous. And a lot of time when you in love with someone and you protect someone, you start to have this passion and this desire to always be there for them through thick and thin. And mind you now, even though that I wore a pink shirt and I was actually paying honor and respect to Arzuli Freda, it's not the fact, because a lot of people say that they don't get along, and that's not really true, because it's like this: when you get in a relationship with a man or a woman, when you in a relationship with them, you actually in relationship with the family as well. If you get married to a man or a woman, you're actually married to family. So quickly, using thought, you're like, okay, they get along in some sense, but they may have their own issues with you. But being that you in relationship with a particular person, you're in relationship with the family. But going back to what I was saying, um, she let me know she was jealous. But then when you're dealing with the aspect of Azuli Freda, she deals with beauty, pleasurable, worldly pleasures, money, and what Azuli was letting me know, in life, you're going to be attracted to the things of the world. You may get attractive business proposals. You may even attract a particular spouse. You know what I'm saying? Pleasure, right? And what she was telling me, you don't want to. You can have these things, but don't get sidetracked and don't forget me. See, see, and what I've learned from that experience, she can be jealous, and she also can give pain if you're not careful. Now, this. I'm giving you a rundown of my experience and how she came to me and how, she's very protective. You know what I'm saying? And that's one aspect. That's one aspect that I've had. Dealing with Erzulie Danto. Um, and also, she can also give her children the things that they desire. I can remember, a few years, like maybe like a year ago, I was working a 9 to 5, putting in a lot of hours, and I had a vehicle. I had it like for 15 years, and um, I really needed another vehicle, and I had the money to, what I'm saying, to get another vehicle, but I was like, the timing ain't right. Just give it some time and really, get my money up, and my credit score was good, but I wasn't really ready to, to get a vehicle because I didn't want, payment. So long story short, I went. My dad went with my parents went with me or whatever, and we went to the parking lot and it was looking at cars and looking at prices and looking at interest rates or whatever, right? And at that time, I'm like, you know what? And this was around the time of COVID, and a lot of people was working, a lot of people was getting their hours cut, and I was one of those individuals who my hours is getting cut from work, and I'm like, I'm not really making enough money to do what I need to do. It's not the right time. But then there was an encouragement, look, you gotta have faith. You really gotta believe that when you go in here, you're gonna get what you want, right? So long story short, they ran the credit. That was good, and it was like, you've been approved of a car. But the car I wanted, I didn't get. But it made I had three. It was three different cars they that I looked at. I didn't get the car that I wanted. But what was so symbolic about this the experience is when once I got the car, I was driving it, and it dawned on me it was the color blue, and I said, "Oh, okay." You have Ogun, and then you have Azuli Dantor. And from that experience that I had, um, working with her, being dedicated, she also give her children the things that they need. You know what I'm saying? And that's the experience that I had with Azuli Dantor. I had many different experience with her, and but just that very few examples and experience that I had, you know, she can be very protective. You know, she can be jealous. She can also give you desires of your heart. And in those, I mean, I had another experience too where I went to a retail store, and I got a few items, and I met this. It was a dark. I seen it in the flesh, I would say. And I went to the cashier, and the lady, you know, she had silver on. She had a silver necklace on, silver jewelry, and I was like, okay, that's kind of like irrelevant or whatever. But what stood out to me is when I seen she had on silver, but she had a heart and a dagger that was pierced through. You know what I'm saying? The charm that she had. I said, oh, and then it was on a Tuesday, and it was like, okay, this was really down to her. She was letting me know that she was close by. And really, what I'm saying, mama don't take no mess. You know what I'm saying? Azuli Don to her, she don't take her no mess. She's very protective. She looks over her children. You know, just the experience of really working with her has been, you know, it's been a good one. I haven't really had no issues. But another thing I wanted to mention too, it was a situation, and it's funny because working with the Zuli Danto, like I said, she could be overprotective. And I can remember back in the time when I used to, be in Christianity, and they had this lady, she was a prophetess, right? And, I went, no, she said, come here, young man, let me share something with you. And when I went up there, she was looking at me, and she, in Christianity, they have this thing where like they looking down or they looking up, or they getting a message from God or whatever, and then after that they they sit with, and then they give you the information that they get from spirit. She said, you know what, you a handsome young man, right? And then she said, no. She kept reiterating, I'm a handsome young man. And then she got the church involved, and they was, yeah, 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 yeah. They were shaking their head, right? But she said, this is a thing. She said, um, you have a lot of attractive women that likes you, and a lot of times you notice when you get in relationships with females, uh, you tend to they tend to leave, or they tend not to stay around. And it's say, it's not you, it's not nothing you do, but there's a spirit that's around you that's pushing them away, right? And this is way before I got into to the path that I'm in now. And a lot of times to be like, getting in relationships, it was like off and on, off and on. And the whole time, this is maybe like 2010, right? And the whole time, Erzulie Danto, her energy was always with me all those years, And it's just interesting, like, when you come on a path of spirituality and you start to do the work and you start to really um, embrace your calling, and when you start working with different Loas, Orishas, Goetias, any spirits that resonate or call on you, you know, you will find yourself interacting with these spirits way before you even acknowledge or even know that they're with you. So I just wanted to do story time talking about Mama Don't Take No Mess. Azuli Danto, she was on me about, she wanted me to come online and, really give some of, examples of how she manifests in my life. But I will say too, because a lot of my spiritual enlightenment, a lot of my deities, spirit gods, came to me first. And what happened was, because at that time I really wasn't confident in my dreams. I really was like, these different spirits is not coming to me. And what was my confirmations when I went? Matter of fact, shout out to Priestess All Set. You know, shout out to Priestess All Set. And she was, letting me know. She was letting me know anytime different spirits come to you, you know, they wanted to work. They want to work with you. And she also divined for me in each different spirits that came to me. It was confirmed. And it was sometimes I didn't even tell her anything, and then she was able to pick up on the energies and pick up on the frequencies of what deities walk with me. So I tell a lot of individuals, listen to me clearly. When you decide to work with different energies, a lot of times they communicate more than one time. For instance, and I think I have a video talking about interpreting dreams, but I'm going to get more to what I'm getting ready to say when you're dealing with deities and they come to you in the dream state. A lot of times, if a deity want to work with you, they will come into your dream state. Now, once they come into your dream state and they tell you their name or they give you their attributes, the next thing may happen, being that we in the age of social media, you may start to see the images pass through on your Facebook, Instagram. Just what yesterday's Facebook was down, but the little joke or whatever. But you start to see them on your news feed, or you may be having a conversation with friends or whatever, and they may mention that particular deity that you might have had a dream about. You may go to the supermarket and you may see a symbolic item, or somebody may even have a shirt on representing that particular deity or those energies. And you can go by that, but if you really want to know for sure, you would get a divination and have somebody to confirm it. Like for me, I've had over 30 different deities and spirits that came to me first, and a lot of them was confirmed from different diviners. Priestess all set, let me know straight and plain, like, look, this is who work with you, this is who wouldn't work with you, you know. And I just wanted to come online, give a video on how Erzulie Danto, Mama Don't Take No Mess, came into my life, and she really changed it for the better. And like again, and a lot of times when certain deities come in your life, they come in it when you're either vulnerable or you're going through a transition in your life. And for Azuli Danto to come into my life, she knew that, you know, everything not love and light. You know what I'm saying? It's hate and darkness on the other side of the corner. And I see what's going on, so I need to be close to you. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works. And a lot of times you have to be very discerning on when spirits come to you. I would also say, when you're dealing with different spirits, imposing spirits, when you're dealing with the path, when deities come to you, spirits come to you, opposing spirits only can play with your mind. A lot of times, if you're interacting with an imposed spirit, they cannot manifest anything for you. So a lot of times, if you're dealing with any type of pantheon, you want to ask questions and you want them to manifest something for you. If they can't manifest anything for you, chances are you're dealing with an imposter spirit. They're only going to play on your mental and make you believe uh, situations that doesn't really come into intuition or manifestation. But when you're dealing with deities, you have to convert. You have to talk to them back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you know, in opposing spirit, a lot of times they ask for different things before you even really had a week of conversation with them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they don't do that. But this is a video talking about Azuli Don Toa and how she came into my life. Um,